Is right. You are listening to Conservative Not Bitter Talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff. It's a pleasure to be here. You can email me thoughts, questions, opinions, feedback, random things, articles. I'll take it all. Just make it count is all I ask. Email Todd at toddhuffshow.com as I'm watching people fight over fuel here on video in the background I think it's in North Carolina. That problem is, it's in the process of getting, there's a resolution. They're back online, Colonial is, but in the meantime, there is still a lot going on in the way of fuel, people backed up with getting gas and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, lots of stuff to talk about here this morning, but I wanted to talk here first about what's happening in Israel. I feel like this runs so deep. This runs so very deep, what's happening in Israel. Israel, the city of Jerusalem, where Trump said move the U.S. embassy back to recognizing it as the capital of the nation of Israel. Just a whole lot to unpack here. And this goes back all the way biblically to the time of Abraham and Isaac and Ishmael. I mean, this runs deep. Hamas, by the way, a terrorist organization that is funded by, yes, you guessed it, the People's Republic, the Islamic Republic of Iran. And so Israel, which is roughly the size of the state of, I believe, New Jersey. I think it's roughly that size. Tiny place. Which why is there an Israel? There's an Israel because the Jewish people have been targeted throughout history, and most notably in recent times and semi-recent times, modern times, the Nazis, right? The systematic extermination of a people, the Jewish people. They've been targeted and killed en masse. 6.5 million, it's estimated, were killed by the Nazi regime under the reign of Adolf Hitler. So they created the Jewish state so that the Jewish people would have a place of their own, because this sort of thing, not necessarily on that scale, but the Jewish people had been targeted throughout history. It's a remarkable thing that there is still, and a Christian would tell you it's because of God himself making sure of it, but it's remarkable that there's even a group of people that we call Jewish today. You go back to the biblical times, if you read the Bible, and these are historical groups of people too, the Amorites, the Hittites, the Jebusites, all these folks, all these ites. You ask yourself, where are they today? Where are those folks today? And you would say, well, some of them are here, but that's not the group anymore, right? They've become different groups, different nations, but not so with the Jewish people. The Jewish people have continued in their identity, continued in their cultural, religious practices over the millennia. And Israel is their home. Israel is their home. Israel is an ally to the United States. In fact, if you look at that region of the world, this part is not complicated. Now, there are some intricacies here and not every single thing Israel does is correct. That's not necessarily fair. But in general, there's some things I think that we need to understand. Again, this is, I guess, just in response to what's happening here. Hamas is firing rockets into Tel Aviv, which is kind of the commercial hub, the economic center in the nation of Israel. You've got the Gaza Strip. You've got disputes over land. You've got a divided city. You've got this area in Old Town Jerusalem that there's tensions. There's religious tensions. There's cultural tensions. There's a deep-seated hatred for the Jewish people, which I kind of referenced here at the beginning. This goes way back, and I guess that's where I'll start. This is so complex and so multi-layered in some respects. In other respects, and I'm going to read what Benjamin Netanyahu, a speech he gave to the Knesset in Israel. I want to read. It's not very long, but I want to share this with you because he makes one of the things I love. I think Netanyahu is a fantastic leader. Just all politics or whatever aside, just leadership. The guy, he takes things and boils them down to the a simple truth, and he's able to communicate that so clearly and with strength and with a sense of purpose. It's to me, this guy is just a phenomenal leader. He really is. So we got all this, but I think quickly the place to start is at the beginning, and this can be traced back biblically. So we know that biblically, and again, I don't want to make this isn't a sermon. I just want to tell you the history, and this is whether you are a Christian, whatever your faith is, if you're Jewish, whether you are Muslim, atheist, agnostic, it really doesn't matter if what it does matter if what I'm going to tell you is accurate in one sense because it's the story of it's a biblical story, but what matters is both sides of the tension, of the conflict in Israel believe this. So whether you do or not, this is just some background on how they view this. So the Bible teaches us that God told a man named Abraham to leave his home in Ur of the Chaldeans and move to a nation, a place that he was going to give to Abraham and his descendants. Now, I'm not going to go into all the details because it's a remarkable story. It's a tremendous story. But Abraham was unable to have children. He hadn't had children, let's say. He and his wife, Sarah. There's been some name changes, Abraham and Sarah. I don't want to go through all the detail, but Abraham and Sarah were called to go to this land by God. I'm going to give you this land. You're going to be my chosen people. And this was the people through which God worked, and ultimately through that lineage gave us his son Jesus. So calls them to this land. Leave everything you know, everything you've got. This story of Abraham is, again, a remarkable story. And even if you're not religious, I encourage you to read it because it's such a great story. So Abraham goes and leaves everything, goes to the land, has some struggles, and he's wondering, he and his wife Sarah are wondering, how is God going to fulfill his promise to us because we don't have any children. We can't have kids. And they were old at this time. And so Sarah comes to Abraham and says, look, why don't I give you my maidservant Hagar, and you have a child with her, because that's really like our child will kind of help God out here. Now, they had waited at this time, by the way, I think 13 years. And I know it's easy to say, and I'm not saying Abraham and Sarah should have done this, but they waited 13 years for God to deliver on his promise. And so it wasn't like they did this the next day. So there was an attempt to trust God, but hey, let's maybe help him out a little bit here. So Abraham had a child with Hagar. Child's name was Ishmael. So Ishmael was growing up, and Abraham loved Ishmael, and there came to have tensions between, of course, this is predictable in a human sense, Sarah and Hagar. There were tensions because of the child and the jealousies and that sort of thing, and but Sarah and Abraham were eventually able to have their own child, and this was the promised lineage, and they were to the point, in fact, where they were way too old to have kids. In fact, Isaac means, what is it? He laughs, I think, because they laughed at the notion. They laughed at the notion that they would be able to have a child, and so Isaac became that promised next step, and Isaac was the father if you Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and then Jacob, who became Jacob's name was turned to Israel. Jacob had that's where we have the 12 tribes of Israel. He had many children, and there's a big story here. I can't get into it because this is the sort of thing that, I mean, there's just so many details and so forth in it. But we have the two children. We have Isaac and we have Ishmael. And so there's another biblical story where God calls Abram to take your son, your one and only son, whom you love, Isaac, up to Mount Moriah and offer him as a sacrifice to me, which sounds crazy. I grant you, there's a point to all this. And so Abraham took Isaac up to Mount Moriah, which, if you know the history of the region, this is literally where the temple, the Jewish temple, was built in the years to come. This was King David's son Solomon in the future, right? This is later down the road. But when he built the temple in Jerusalem, it was the same general area where Abraham was called to sacrifice his son Isaac. And I tell you this because the Hamas and Muslims will tell you that the child that was taken up Mount Moriah was actually Ishmael. And this may not seem like a big deal, but you think about which child would have been taken up there, which I, for the record, firmly believe the biblical account, just to be clear, that it was Isaac. But there is a whole nother group of people that say it was Ishmael. And that's the one through whom, ultimately, Ishmael, we get the lineage of Muhammad, who, of course, is the founder, if you will, of Islam. So you have this, that is the clash, that is the beginning of the clash point, the beginning of the tensions. Israelites, the Jewish people, say that Abraham took Isaac up the mountain. And this, of course, again, was the location of the holy city, where the temple is. It's where the Dome of the Rock, the Al-Aqsa Mosque, sits today in the city of Jerusalem. This is, I mean, not maybe precisely, but it's right there. It's on the hills of, it's Moriah. It's the hills of Jerusalem where this all took place. And so that is the point at which, Judaism says that was Isaac that went up the hill. This was God, showing his providence, reminding Abraham that Isaac was a blessing, but Isaac was not to be worshipped or, loved more than he should, loved more than God, basically. A reminder of that, and that Isaac belonged first and foremost, or was his relationship with God should supersede that with his father. Lots going on with these stories and lessons, but that's the beginning of this clash point. And so you have two faiths, and you could say a third, because Christianity claims that it's the fulfillment of the Jewish, that Jesus was the fulfillment of the Jewish teachings. And so now you got Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, and it's all centered around this city of Jerusalem. And both places, or all three religions, claim holy sites. In fact, I've got a aunt and uncle who volunteer. They haven't been able to for a while because of COVID, but they volunteer. In fact, he's been on here before to work at the Garden Tomb of Jesus, which is right there as well, right? And so you've got all these holy sites. You've got the tensions between the faiths, and you've got just some other tensions as well, because as I referenced, and we'll go through it just over the course of time, but you have Israel being established as a state back in 1948. You've had conflicts since then, and you have really a lot of nations, a lot of Muslim nations, and there are more peaceful Muslim nations, and there are Muslim nations that are very aggressive and violent, like Iran, for example. And even if these nations aren't necessarily super aggressive, there's a hotbed of terrorist organizations like Hamas, this problem is with Israel right now. It's between Hamas and Israel. Islamic Jihad. There's so many. Too numerous to Hezbollah, too numerous to count. And a lot of these terrorist groups are funded by the People's Republic of Iran, by the people who chant death to America, and to Israel. We're the great Satan. Israel's the little Satan. Again, through the lens of the religious viewpoints. I mean, even though it's really Christianity, Judaism, and Islam through the perspective of the Islamic Republic of Iran. America represents the Christian side, even if America is not anywhere near the nation it was as far as its Christian heritage when it was founded. Of course, Israel is Jewish, and Iran is, they believe, the correct interpretation of Islam. So you got them funding this extension of Hamas. You got this tension, this turmoil, this dispute over land in a small territory as it is. And you've got violence. And that's what's happening here. And this has happened throughout history. This has happened. This is deeply, and there's a lot more to this. I'm barely even scratching the surface on this. But there's a lot more to this. But it goes back. It goes back to that point in time, which I referenced when Abraham took a child, which the Bible says was Isaac, and Muslims would say is Ishmael. And that is the beginning, just the beginning. You factor in all these other things as well, political tensions, fight over land, terms like occupiers and terrorists being thrown around, and legitimate terrorism to deal with. So we're going to continue to unpack this, but I just felt like, hey, we need to address this because what's going on over there, it's now being talked about. You've got groups like the Squad, AOC and the Squad out there trying to talk about Israel as being the occupiers and always blaming Israel first, just like they blame America first, and they're on the wrong side of this so many times. But lots to unpack. I just wanted to talk about this today, and it's important. Timeout's needed, though. Sit tight. You're listening here at the home of conservative, not bitter talk. And by the way, my vast team of attorneys has reminded me again to tell you, if you are operating heavy machinery, driving a vehicle today, be careful. Contents of this program may, in fact, cause you to lean to and to drift to the right. Back here in just a minute.
Had enough of the cancel culture? Why not fight back by directly supporting the advertisers who make this program possible? Visit supportouradvertisers.com to give those who help bring this program to you the opportunity to earn your business. Find out more about businesses like Ward's Apparel, Edwards Equipment, and Indiana Wooded Paradise Retreat by visiting supportouradvertisers.com today.
Are you tired of manually opening the gate every time you pull in the drive, especially during the freezing cold, pouring rain, or hot, humid weather? Then Gatekeeper Services has your solution. They offer affordable residential and commercial motorized units for your gated properties. Veteran-owned with over 50 years' experience in motorized gate sales and repairs on any make or model, and with numerous entry control options, Gatekeeper Services takes pride being certified in both automated gate system design and operator installation. Simplify your life today by calling 317-714-4061.
Need to refresh or renovate your commercial space? Call Interior Construction Services today, providing the highest level of quality construction at a competitive price. Our service-minded team is here to deliver the detail-oriented environment you're looking to create, on time and on budget. Call us at 317-991-4660 or visit us online at interiorconstruct.com. Interior Construction Services. Progressive, productive, professional.
Are you looking to purchase waterproof flooring for your home? Did you know it's as easy as typing rnrproducts.com/Todd in your search engine for a great deal on our core tech line? Since 1971, R&R Products has provided brand name products at an affordable price to the listening area. Call 317-745-5794 or go online to rnrproducts.com/Todd. R&R Products. We make your flooring experience easy and affordable.
This is the sound of your typical do-it-yourself suffer in completely over his head.
For heating, plumbing,
and electrical done right.
Call Mr. Quick. Call Mr. Quick. Dial the number, spell the words. For on time.
Flooded basement, failed sump pump. Water damage happens fast this time of year. For 38 years now, Hayes & Sons has been restoring water damage in Indiana homes and businesses. They'll help you navigate your insurance claim and get your life back on track. So when a water disaster strikes, tell your insurance agent you want Hayes & Sons for your restoration work. Visit hayesandSons.com/Todd for more information.
Hunting, fishing, bows, guns, ammo, safes, and more. The Outdoorsman Sports Shop in Greenwood has all the gear you need for your outdoor experience. We have a huge selection of brands that other shops don't carry, and a friendly, knowledgeable staff ready to answer all your outdoor adventure questions. At Outdoorsman Sports Shop in Greenwood, you can even hone your archery skills at our indoor shooting range. Find us online at outdoorsmansportshop.com. So get outdoors, but bring the right gear.
Hey Indy, Sid here with Kill a Dent Removal. We specialize in a paint-free repair process known as PDR. Our certified master technicians remove dents and dings of all shapes and sizes, including hail damage, with zero body fillers, zero painting, and zero diminished value. Most repairs are completed the same day, many even while you wait. Check us out at killadentremoval.com. And remember, folks, don't paint your car, go PDR.
If you're thinking of buying or selling a home, call my good friend Scott Veerkamp. Scott and his team have been helping people with their real estate needs since 1992, and he has sold literally thousands of homes for good families just like yours. For all your real estate needs, call Scott Veerkamp today at 317-979-4663. That's 979-HOME. Welcome back, my friends. Just talking a little with Oz here behind the scenes about some of this stuff. And I was just telling her that this does go back to Abraham, which we talked about last segment. But a Muslim will tell you that Abraham is the father of their faith. I don't know if they use that terminology, but that's essentially it. And that they claim biblical characters as part of prophets for their faith as well. In fact, even including Jesus. One time, in fact, I was stopped on the street. They used to. I went to Butler University, as I've shared on here before, but there used to be. You used to be able to stand, say in the streets, but in the medians or whatever. 38th and Lafayette Road. I remember going through there, which is just a little bit down the road from Butler. 38th Street, Lafayette Road, West Side. There used to be people who would stand selling a newspaper. I think it was called The Final Call. It was Louis Farrakhan's paper, right? The Nation of Islam. And they would walk around and they would ask, I think for just $1, can you... in fact, one time, because I would always engage with folks. This is just what I do. But I had my window down, or I rolled it down. I said, what's going on, man? He's like, hey, can you give $1? This is what he said to me. Can you give $1 to help fight, I forget if it was to help protect children from violence or to help feed children on the, that are needy in the street of the streets of Indianapolis. And so I gave him $1 to get, to see. I didn't know what this was about. And it was The Final Call. I think it's called The Final Call newspaper by Farrakhan. And so I looked at it and I was familiar with Farrakhan and I just, whatever. I just kind of put it aside. And one of the next times I went through there, they came back to the car and they asked for money again. I said, you know what, buddy? I said, I'm a Christian and I don't really want to, I don't believe what you're at this newspaper you're selling effectively. I'm just not going to be a part of supporting that. And he told me, he said, well, Jesus was a Muslim. And I said, no, he wasn't. And he said, yeah, he was. And of course the light turned green and all this, and I had to drive off. But the point is that Muslims believe that, and they believe a lot of the Bible, though they'll tell you certain things they don't really view it as the infallible word of God. In fact, they'll tell you it's mistranslated and different things like that. In fact, I remember I took an Islam class in college, and one of the professors, I remember in class, I can't think of his name, the professor of my class, I can see him, but I can't think of his name. But anyway, not that I would even share it on here, maybe his first name, but he taught us, and this is just the course of studying, the class itself, but there's for Christians, and many of you are Christians, I know, if you know, when Jesus promises to send the Holy Spirit, he promises to send the Comforter, which he's referring to as the Holy Spirit. He's referring to that after he dies and ascends to heaven. And Muslims will tell you that Jesus was prophesying the coming of Muhammad, because if you take the word the Comforter, which Jesus was using to describe the Holy Spirit, and you change a couple of letters in the original language, it's one of the names for Muhammad. And they'll say that was really an attempt of Jesus to prophesy about Muhammad, because while they believe parts of the Bible, the general story of the Bible, with some exceptions, as I've mentioned Abraham and Isaac and Ishmael already, but they will cite Old Testament prophets as their prophets and so forth. But, well, now I forget what I was trying to go with that for a second. But the whole idea is that this runs deep. This runs deeply back to, millennia ago. Oh, I know what I was going to say. They believe that Muhammad was the one who ultimately has the perfect word of God, which he was given through a series of visions, they will tell you, and that's what the Quran is. What the Quran is. And so it's a strictly monotheistic faith, which the idea of a trinity is completely blasphemous to them. So there's tensions. So now they believe, Islam believes and teaches, that those of Jewish faith and Christian faith are at least wrong, right? Just as a Christian would say that that Muhammad wasn't the Savior, Jesus was. They say that we're wrong. And some of them would even say, worse than that we're the infidel and we deserve to effectively be killed. And that is where now we're beginning to get to the underpinnings of groups like Hamas and Al-Qaeda, and different groups like that are now all around Israel and firing rockets, in the case of Hamas, at Israel. And even those that don't fire rockets, there's just an insidious, nonstop attack. There's a deep-seated hatred and rage against the nation of Israel. And again, I'm not saying Israel has been perfect. That's not my intent. But one side, the Islamic terrorist groups, will be satisfied with nothing other than the complete destruction of Israel. In fact, this goes back to the 90s when Clinton sat down with Arafat, and I can't remember who the Israeli prime minister was at the time, but he sat down and they negotiated basically a peace settlement, and it virtually gave everything that the PLO wanted at the time, but it still allowed for the existence of Israel, and that is enough. I'm telling you, the existence of Israel is repulsive to these groups like Hamas and these radicals. And it's not every Palestinian, but there's, for the radicals and for the ones who are often in charge, that is what this is. And so how do you coexist? Israel's constantly, and Netanyahu said this in his speech to the Knesset, but Israel is constantly, say, condemned, or they are condemned. Oh, use restraint. Rockets are flying into your cities. You've got technology that's amazing that can basically pick most of these things out of the sky. Remarkable stuff. You're supposed to show restraint as hundreds, if not thousands, of rockets are flying into the cities trying to kill your people. Oh, you must show restraint. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, we have a crisis on our border, and that is 100%, make no mistakes about it, the responsibility of this administration and the radical left. It is completely, we have the most, what do we have, 170-some thousand encounters along the border, more, I guess, children have been, that they know of, have been stopped or put into these, what used to be called concentration camps when Trump was president. Now they're just, I guess they're resorts. But you've got all this happening, and these numbers are the highest they've ever been. So we have that sort of problem on our border. So I'm not saying we don't, but we don't have rockets firing into El Paso or wherever, right? I mean, we don't have that. Thank God. But if we did, we would be completely justified in doing whatever it took to stop it. And if it continued to say what Netanyahu says, which I'm going to read his speech after the break. But all this stuff matters. This is all kind of foundational work, or I guess a foundational part of what's going on here in Israel, here in the Middle East. So, quick timeout. Long in the segment. Back here in just a minute.
Had enough of the cancel culture? Why not fight back by directly supporting the advertisers who make this program possible? Visit supportouradvertisers.com to give those who help bring this program to you the opportunity to earn your business. Find out more about businesses like Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing, Care to Change, and Interior Construction Services by visiting supportouradvertisers.com today.
I want to get one more season out of my furnace or air conditioner. Have you or someone you know ever made that statement? Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing has heard it a lot. Did you know that furnaces and air conditioners are most likely to break down when they're under stress? That means during the hottest and coldest months of the year, like those months quickly approaching us. With winter on the horizon, now is the time to replace that old rickety unit. With 0% financing for up to 72 months and up to $600 in instant rebates, now is the time to buy. Doing great work is Economy's priority, and the satisfaction of their customers is their number one goal, guaranteed. Make your home comfortable this winter. Contact Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing today by calling 317-831-5279 or visit them at economyheatingandair.com.
Know someone looking for a fun summer job? We're now hiring lifeguards around the Indianapolis area. Make a difference while meeting new people, build your teamwork skills, and spend time outdoors. We offer lifeguard certification classes. To find out more, go to indianapolis-pmg.com and choose the lifeguarding menu option. That's indianapolis-pmg.com.
Haven't filed your taxes yet? You're in luck. But time is running out, so you need to act now. In the ongoing effort dealing with the pandemic, the IRS has officially extended the tax filing deadline to May 17th instead of April 15th. Tax payments can also be deferred until May 17th without any penalties and interest. With all of the changing regulations for the stimulus checks, PPP loans, mortgage forgiveness, and other changes with the COVID relief bills, this is the year to make sure you have everything covered. Midwest Tax Group is your local expert in everything taxes. 317-288-5260. They've been serving the Indianapolis area for over 10 years. They complete most tax returns within a week and will get you every penny you deserve. 317-288-5260. Can't come into one of their 4 office locations? Or prefer contact-free meetings and document preparation? Midwest Tax Group makes it easy to submit all of the necessary information without ever coming in person. Visit them online at mwtaxgroup.com for more information.
Weddings, reunions, business, church, or family retreats, Indiana Paradise Retreat is a hidden gem located right here in central Indiana. With over 11,000 square feet, a theater, gym, sauna, hot tub, pool, stocked lakes, and even an on-site event hangar, we have just the place for your next event. Find us on Airbnb, VRBO, or just search for Indiana Paradise Retreat. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Fireplaces can be beautiful and even essential in heating some homes. But did you know they could be dangerous to your family if not properly maintained? Chimneys need to be cleaned and inspected annually. My family and I had Smalling Masonry inspect ours. They are friendly, informative, on time, and helped us use our wood-burning stove more efficiently. Call Christian-owned Smalling Masonry today at 317-903-8121 and mention my name, Todd Huff, for a 15% off chimney inspection and sweep. Are you looking for reliable advice on real estate investing? Then you should start listening to the Homeboys. Clint and Scott have over 40 years of real estate investing experience that they use to educate and guide their listeners. Listen and learn from their experiences to maximize your real estate investment strategy. You can find the Homeboys podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or watch them on YouTube. That's the Homeboys podcast. They can show you how to get started and reach your real estate investment goals. Welcome back. So, let's look here. This is what Netanyahu said to the Knesset in Israel. It would have been, I saw this yesterday morning, so it's been, I don't know, maybe 36 hours ago or so. He says this: to Ishmael, Hananiah, and the leaders of the operatives of Hamas, we the people of Israel owe you a huge debt of gratitude. You have succeeded where we have failed, because never before in the history of the modern state of Israel has the Jewish people been so united like one person with one heart. Everyone in Israel, from left to right, secular and religious, and is united in the knowledge that there is no accommodating an enemy that is sworn to the genocide of our people. By the way, that is what I was referencing last segment when I was talking about Arafat and the PLO and the peace agreement that was offered or agreed to essentially by the Israelis. And it wasn't enough for Arafat, because that radical wing those leaders want the true annihilation of the people of Israel, which seems crazy to say, but that's what we're dealing with. It's not every Palestinian, but it is definitely the terrorist groups, and it's often the leaders of these Palestinian groups as well. So he continues, this is Netanyahu, and now as you continue to launch deadly missiles indiscriminately and intended to maim and murder as many civilians as possible while you take cowardly refuge behind your own civilians, they do that as well, oftentimes firing missiles and so forth from hospitals and schools. You continue to inspire us to hold strongly onto our unity. Whatever disputes we Jews may have with each other, we know that we have one common goal. We will defeat you. But we are offering you now one last chance. Within 24 hours, all rocket fire, and I mean all rocket fire, will cease completely, forever. I give you formal notice that our tanks are massed at the Gaza border, with artillery and air support at the ready. We have already dropped leaflets over the northern parts of the Gaza Strip warning civilians of our impending arrival and that they should evacuate southward forthwith. If you fail to meet our ultimatum, we are coming in, and with God's help, this time we will not leave. Every centimeter of land that we conquer will be annexed to Israel, so that there will never be another attack launched at our civilians from there. Even so, we will continue to keep the door open to allow you to surrender gracefully. The moment you announce you are laying down your arms, we will halt our advance, and there we will draw our new borders. If you continue to attack our citizens, we will continue to roll southwards, driving you out of territory that you will never again contaminate with your evil presence. It pains me deeply that your civilians will be made homeless, but we did not choose this war, you did. And if our choice is between allowing our citizens to be targeted mercilessly by your genocidal savagery versus turning your civilians into refugees, I regret that we must choose the latter. If you loved your people as much as you hate ours, this war would never have happened. To the rest of the world, Israel has tired of your ceaseless chidings that we should, quote, show restraint. When you have your entire population under constant missile fire from an implacable enemy whose stated goal is the murder of every man, woman, and child in your land, then you may come and talk to us about restraint. Until then, we respectfully suggest that you keep your double standards to yourselves. This time, Hamas has gone too far, and we will do whatever we have to in order to protect our population. Hamas, once again, I thank you for bringing our people together with such clarity of mind and unity of purpose. The people of Israel do not fear the long road ahead. Gotta take a break. That's the speech he made to the Knesset, boiling it down to the simple facts of what Hamas, what their stated goals are, the true annihilation of Israel. The same that Iran's are, by the way, who chant death to Israel, death to, as they call them, the little Satan. There's other stuff going on. There's more. There's more to it. There's some issues that near the Alaska Mosque. There's some disagreement over. There was an eviction of a couple of properties that were occupied by Palestinians that have now the courts have ruled should be given to Jewish settlers. I mean, some of this gets complicated. I'm not saying there's no reason for there not to be any tensions on the Palestinian side, but for Hamas to desire the destruction of Israel, and we take that seriously, not we, but that's to be taken as though you can compromise with that. How on earth can you compromise that? How on earth can we as a people, can the AOCs, the Rashida Tlaib sit comfortably in Washington, D.C. and tell Benjamin Netanyahu, you talk about an insurrection. I mean, that's an insurrection. That's a real, legitimate insurrection. Attempted insurrection from the Hamas. Got to take a break. Back here in just a minute.
Enrollment in Todd's conservative, not bitter university is now open. For a limited time, save $10 on Todd's first course, A Christian's Guide to Being a Patriot. For more information or to enroll, visit conservativenotbitter.com. Sponsored in part by Workforce Chaplains. Could your business or organization benefit from the services of a professional team of chaplains? Meet the needs of your employees and foster an excellent work environment with Workforce Chaplains. For more information, visit workforcechaplains.com today.
All right, here we go. $100 down, $200 $300.
I went to my first firearms auction a few years ago. It was hosted by TJ Freege, one of my good friends from high school, who is a champion auctioneer and one of the best in the business. In spite of objections from liberal legislators, I walked away with a .22 rifle and a few boxes of ammunition. And I had a great afternoon with my grandpa that I won't soon forget. If you've ever wondered what treasure you could find in an auction, visit FreegeAuctioneers.com and take a look at their upcoming Central Indiana auction schedule. That's Freege, F-R-E-I-J-E, auctioneers.com. Visit FreegeAuctioneers.com.
Hi, I'm TJ Freege, owner and lead auctioneer at Freege & Freege Auctions and Marketing. I invite you to come see the power of live auctions. It's fast, it's fun, it's transparent, and it's the absolute best way to ensure you get fair market value for your asset today. Get results, go auction.
Geothermal tax credits are back, making this the perfect time to install a new Climate Master geothermal system. Take advantage of this limited time 26% tax credit and begin cutting your heating and cooling bills immediately. Visit indianageothermal.com/info to get your free Climate Master information kit or call 317-829-1490. Visit indianageothermal.com/info or call 317-829-1490. Geothermal, it's cheaper than you think.
Does your business have a plan for social media marketing? Are you reaching the right audiences through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and the list goes on? Are you learning from the data? Jarbo can help. Our team doesn't just come in and tell you how to be successful. We help you execute and measure your sales and marketing efforts. Give us a call at 317-834-6560 or visit us online at jarbomarketing.com. That's jarbomarketing.com. Make social media work for you.
Our word can't be diluted because we are taught that a promise is a commitment in which you always follow through. No ifs, ands, or buts. So every time you walk through Greg Hubler Chevrolet doors, you can count on the advice and expertise we provide you. Because when we make a promise, we keep it. Greg Hubler Chevrolet. Promise kept. Visit GregHublerChevy.com. Find new roads.
Corn Homes is expanding their 55-plus community. Briar Creek is the only senior manufactured home community in Indianapolis featuring Indiana-built homes. Floor plans and finishes starting at $75,000. Enjoy affordable, low-maintenance lifestyle with the charm of a residential neighborhood. Located minutes from I-465 in Fort Harrison State Park. Corn Homes, family-owned and operated since 1955. Check us out at COHRONhomes.com. Mention the Todd Huff Show and receive a $1,000 discount on your new home.
Healthcare is expensive and complicated. Did you know that as a Christian business owner, it is possible to provide access to affordable health benefits for your employees? Remodel Health has helped employers across the United States save over $22 million in the past 3 years. Our innovative approach allows your employees to have the health benefits they need at a cost you can afford. Go to remodelhealth.com/Todd to help your employees find the health care they deserve. Remodel Health. Rethink employee health benefits.
Welcome back. Program brought to you in part by our friends at Indy Dental Sleep. Is your wife, is your husband suffering at night because of snoring? Yes, sometimes snoring can keep partners from sleeping in the same room or sleeping at all. Sometimes there's moving to the couch. In extreme cases, there might be getting, going to separate beds or bedrooms. But our friends at Indy Dental Sleep have an oral appliance, a sleep device, that's an alternative to a CPAP machine, and it's not as cumbersome. CPAP machines may be the solution for some folks, but other more mild to moderate cases of sleep apnea may be better dealt with a sleep device. These are covered by most medical insurance. There's also a cash option. Check it out, IndyDentalSleep.com. Schedule a free consultation. They're good people at Indy Dental Sleep. I've gotten to know Ryan a little bit over there, and IndyDentalSleep.com, you can fill out a form to request your free consultation. Just be sure to put that you heard about the program or heard about them through our program. You can put my name, Todd Huff, there on the referral form. IndyDentalSleep.com. Don't go another night with this if it's a problem in your home. Check it out, IndyDentalSleep.com. So I know, look, we talked. This is heavy stuff today. How about we end with this? How about we change gears a little bit? Have you seen? I saw this the other day. In D.C. Yes, Oz, I see that. In D.C., there is because of the COVID restrictions in the city of, well, not the city. I guess the District of Columbia. There's a lot there. I don't want to get into that, but there's a bride-to-be that's suing D.C. because D.C. is not allowing dancing at her wedding, but yes, there's dancing allowed at strip clubs. Sounds about right for D.C., doesn't it? I mean, all sorts of Bill Clinton jokes come to mind, but I got to take a time out. Listening here to the home of conservative, not bitter talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff, back in a minute.
Stay on top of the nonsense our colleges are subjecting students to today by listening to Todd's monthly interview series with Matt Lamb, assistant editor of The College Fix. Listen at toddhuffshow.com/college. Brought to you by Apprentice University. With so many societal changes, everyone's talking about apprenticeships and college debt. Businesses seek employees with practical problem-solving skills. Visit apprentice.university to learn about our demanding academics and paid apprenticeships in excess of tuition. No debt, in-demand skills, Christian community.
Have you seen the price of custom cabinetry and countertops lately? If you're looking for quality, affordable remodels, call Carriage House Woodworking. Our helpful professionals will walk you through every step of the process. We're offering a free sink base with qualifying purchases. Just enter CHWEINC.com/Todd or call 317-406-3042. Call Carriage House Woodworking. You won't have to spend your kids' inheritance just to upgrade your kitchen.
Are you concerned about your investments? Intrepid Financial has been educating, customizing, and servicing Hoosier investment portfolios since 1998. Our family-owned and operated business builds strong bonds with our clients. When you call, we answer the phone, always ready to walk you through your investment strategy. Intrepid means without fear. We want our clients to be fearless, to feel secure with their investments. Give us a call at 317-818-1776 or visit us online at intrepidfinancial.com.
Wallace Construction is a family-owned business with 45 years' experience in asphalt, concrete, and seal coating. At Wallace Construction, our wide variety of experience and top-notch customer service have helped us build a strong reputation in central Indiana. But we don't rest on that reputation. We build it, one job at a time. If you have an upcoming project, call us at 317-422-5356. That's Wallace Construction, 317-422-5356, and ask for Richard or Roger.
Family owned since 1973, Edwards Equipment at 1375 East Main Street in Danville is ready to meet your equipment needs by selling, renting, and servicing several makes and models of lightweight residential or heavy-duty commercial equipment. We carry and service top-name brands like Ferris, Kubota, Steel, Gravely, Honda Power, Land Pride, and more. Visit edwardstractor.com or call 317-745-6427 to check out our clearance specials today. At Edwards Equipment, we don't just sell you any piece of equipment, we sell you the right piece of equipment.
Our sense of smell stimulates memory and emotion. A scent can seemingly transport us to another place in time. Homemade, hand-poured candles and melts from spur-of-the-moment creations will give your nose the experience the rest of your body is missing during any season of the year. Crackling firewood, fresh-cut grass, Macintosh apple, and even racing fuel are some of their over 200 engaging fragrances. Visit spurofthemomentcreations.com and enter coupon code TODD at checkout to receive 15% off your order today.
Hi, this is Caleb with Gluff Plumbing. Does your home need some plumbing updates? Gluff Plumbing is your solution. We specialize in updating old plumbing, everything from water heaters to well pumps, to underground leaks and everything that has to do with water entering and leaving the home, including water and sewer main excavations. We pride ourselves on old-fashioned customer service. Call Gluff Plumbing at 765-721-6789 or visit gluffplumbing.com. That's GLUFF plumbing.com. Call us today.
The compassion of Christ. It's living life connecting to the broken and messy world. It's not simply walking down the street and dropping a quarter in someone's bucket. It's been perverted by Satan from biblical compassion to feeling sorry for, and sympathy isn't where God wants us to live. It's connecting to broken people in our daily life. Living the compassion of Christ.
Welcome back. Just really quickly, I know that yesterday we talked about the House removing Liz Cheney from leadership, and they in fact did that. They in fact did that yesterday, and so again, lots of things happening all around us politically, culturally, internationally. Plenty of stuff to to vie for our attention. And we got to be on defense here for the things that are coming legislatively. So, all the time I have for today. Thank you so much for listening. SDG. Take care. See you tomorrow. Unhappy with your CPAP machine? Now you have an alternative. The docs at Indy Dental Sleep have an oral appliance that treats snoring and sleep apnea. They begin with an in-home sleep test that is diagnosed by a sleep physician before prescribing your appliance. And it's covered by most medical insurance plans. It's preferred 20-1 versus CPAP. Call 317-888-4036 and start getting the sleep you need. Or visit IndyDentalSleep.com. There is plenty to worry about these days. If you're working with Blake Hornsby at Northwestern Mutual, your retirement and financial security doesn't need to be one of them. Blake is a time-tested financial advisor with over 20 years of experience at Northwestern Mutual. For an independent review of your financial planning needs, call Blake and mention the Todd Huff Show for a free initial consultation. Call 317-215-8322 or visit BlakeHornsby.com. Invest in your peace of mind with Blake Hornsby at Northwestern Mutual.
As a listener of this program, I have no doubt that you embrace the value of hard work, honesty, and integrity. And when you have the opportunity to work with a company that fully embraces and shares these values, I'm sure you jump at it. Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing is just that type of company in Central Indiana. Jeff and Jod Woods have a team of professional technicians here to help tune up your furnace or install a quality new train system. And they're also here to fix those nasty plumbing problems that seem to happen at the absolute worst time. So the next time you have a plumbing, heating, or cooling need, give the good folks at Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing a call. Call 317-831-5279. That's 317-831-5279. Or visit economyheatingandair.com.